Okay, well, for this next section of the presentation, you'll be aware that as far back as silent movies, locomotives and trains have been a firm favourite with the filmmakers and quite often have taken a starring role. One of which is the Liverpool and Manchester railway locomotive number 57 Lion. Possibly the most famous film that Lion has appeared in was the 1953 Ealing comedy Titfield Thunderbolt. We'll have the two train packs featuring Lion.
No, Hornby, don't. Aye, this is a new format, isn't it? I don't like to make videos like this anymore. 2019 was my year where I would complain about the state of the things outside of my control. People didn't like it. Those who know simply know. But today I'd like to speak my mind on the big company in the room. My first interaction with model trains was with models like this. This is a Fleischmann BR80. This model is older than me. You know, we used to have a family shop, and this fella would trundle up and down the shop window, and come Christmas we'd put up this big Christmas layout in the shop window, and we'd have this thing would go around a little village that we would build every year. Great memories, great engine.
Why are you at the back of the... Oh god. Oh god. It's all falling apart.
Then when I was 7, these lads came along. Yes, I know, for as much as I say that I don't like Thomas now, he was part of my childhood too. There's one thing about this engine, it doesn't work anymore. That's because I was a child, and I didn't maintain it. So I would like to own a similar model for all time's sake, you know. But then I go and check Hornby's website for an engine like this, you know, a 6-wheeled shunting engine, and I'm greeted with this. Ho ho ho! That's 80 euros, isn't it? Hornby? Hornby? And Hornby have been jacking up their prices for years. Toolings that are years old that go for the same amount of money that the retailers value brand new models. And I'm not talking like early 2000s years old. I'm talking 1985 years old. And last year especially, Hornby have jacked up their prices by 10%. I watch a lot of reviewers, Sam Strange, That Model Railway Guy, Dean Park, you know, love those guys. Sam Strange checks the Hornby website very regularly. And he pointed out that models, between being announced in 2020 and coming out just a few weeks ago, had increased in price. But then he also pointed out that even after not even being out for 1-2 months, the price has increased again! That's a total price increase of 20%. As of filming this, it has been 1 day since Hornby unveiled their 2022 range, and as I expected, it's mostly re-releases of old toolings. So this Class 08, which has been around since at least the early 2000s, would have set me back more than... this! This is my Thompson A2-3. It's a Hornby product, and this one costed me £171 from the retailer. And I know what you're thinking, well, just buy from the retailers, right? Well, no! Retailers want to make a decent profit off of these models as well, so they, as Hornby increases the price, increase the price to accommodate that profit. And if a retailer deals in exclusive models, Hornby have devised a system where they can just say, oh, you produce your own locos. Guess you won't need ours in your shop then. Hornby of course want that you pay them directly for their own products, which means that they get all the money. But ever since 2014, Hornby's quality has nosedived. This A2 broke less than a week after arriving. Sam Strange showcased that the way Hornby thinks they can decorate models with a large flat surface looks like my front bottom. And Dean Park showcased how even things like carriages have just little to no thought put into their design. And with this increase in price, most people simply cannot afford a brand new Hornby product. I'm a broke student, I'm not afraid to admit that. Most models I get my hands on are either the result of waiting like half a year to get enough money to pay for it, plus the shipping. I live in the Netherlands, by the way. Even Hornby railroad models with their budget range is getting ridiculously expensive. Okay, so Hornby don't think marketing their budget range towards people my age or with my budget is worth it. Their market is obviously like crusty men who still have to hide their purchases from their wives. But that's not quite true now, is it? Because this exists. This is Hornby's range for kids, and I like it. But I have one major problem with it. It's the exact same as Merklin's My World. In fact, you've been looking at the Merklin's My World model this entire time. And it's just the same with unrealistic colours slapped onto it. Hornby, how can you actively be so lazy? Speaking of laziness, Hornby's Pioneer range. Since 2020, Hornby have been producing models based around the common perception of the Liverpool and Manchester Railway, the first intercity railway. Don't like me saying that, tough luck, historians agree with me. But the wagons and coaches they use for this range are just wrong. All these are based around the 1930s replicas of what they thought at the time the LMR looked like. Hornby released an underframe as a separate wagon pack.
What?
And even their so-called mineral wagons, don't they look a bit familiar? Maybe it helps if I Photoshop it to make it look yellow. Your eyes are not deceiving you. They took the replica rocket's tender and branded it a separate wagon. Full credit to knowing all this goes to Anthony Dawson, lovely person, great historian. Go watch his content and his appearance on the Railway Maniac podcast. Actually, watch all of Railway Maniac's podcasts. They're good. I like them. But coming back to the Liverpool and Manchester, Hornby also revealed that they are releasing 2 packs including the famous Lion locomotive. But at least one of them is breaching copyright laws, and that's what the clip in the intro was referring to. Rapido Trains have the exclusive rights to produce a range of models based around the Titfield Thunderbolt film, but Hornby apparently thought they could also do it. And Hornby knows they don't have the rights to use the Titfield Thunderbolt name, and yet they went ahead and named it the Titfield Thunderbolt anyway. So, what do we have? A 20% price increase across all models, ludicrously priced models dating back to before I was born, Hornby refusing to give some retailers any of their new releases, quality which has gone down the drain, lazy production, inauthentic wagons passing off as authentic, also they're recycled from the tender of the only locomotive currently available to pull them, and possible copyright infringement. Wow! Honestly, if Rapido and Studio Canal, the owners of the rights to the Titfield Thunderbolt film, take Hornby to court over this, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd even love for them to trump Hornby if it does happen, because Hornby have been doing this for far too long. Seeing that another manufacturer is releasing a lucrative product, so they just quickly announce their own version and release it quicker. Oh well, I guess it's just models like this old car here for people like me. Actually, hold on, I wonder. No! No! Could it be that Hornby have seen what European mainland firms have been getting away with for years and they want a piece of that pie now too? I can't fully assert that, but if it isn't the case, I might have just given them the idea. Like I said, I don't enjoy making these types of videos anymore, but this one is very near and dear to my heart. Hornby have always advertised their products as the hobby of a lifetime, and now it's just becoming a hobby for the gullible rich. Like NFT. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Hopefully the next project will be a little more cheerful, and maybe it will even be the 10k special, who knows. It probably won't be, but there's a chance. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Cue the obnoxiously loud outro.